How is it going, everybody? The PlayStation State of Play is tomorrow, and it is looking like it's going to be a notable one, at the very least as far as length is concerned. They have already said it's over 60 minutes long, and as far as lengthiest PlayStation events go, that would be the longest announced time for an event since the PlayStation Showcase in 2023. The PlayStation Showcase in 2023 was a literal abomination. It was one of the worst events I've ever seen in my life. So if this is a sign that, you know what, they're just gonna drop the Showcase moniker because it just sets expectations up too high, and frankly, PlayStation doesn't have enough in the tank to reveal because so much of their manpower does go to the live service games now, I think that's a good thing. Try to focus on what you do have in development, and then on top of that, leave the live service games on the side to be announced. I think they learned a great lesson from 2023 when they announced Concord and Fair Game, and those were disasters. And then recently the reveal of Highguard. Drop the live service games. As much as I hate them, we know you're gonna do them. Drop them without any fanfare, 11 a.m. on a random morning. That's what you gotta do, because if you try to hype them up as new announcements at these State of Plays, people are just gonna crap all over them. It's dead on arrival, and it does more damage, as we've seen with a lot of these games. Now, in this video, I want to highlight some of the rumors, some of the possibilities, and there's one leak going around, one big rumor going around that I would obviously be very excited for, but it's straight copium and hopium in my part. We'll get to that at the end of this video, but let's start off with some of the likely things I have. So, Marvel Tokon's Steam page has gotten updated. I think that's a surefire bet to be there. I believe we're going to get a release date, and with the Steam page getting updated, that game has now noted 20 characters will be playable at launch, 64-player online lobbies with PlayStation account requirements. So this is probably going to be one of those games that if you want to play online, you're going to have to link your PSN account. You know, PlayStation was trying to move forward with that and make a PSN account linking mandatory on PC games for a while. Then they went back on that. But for an online game, that's probably what the requirement is going to be. A single-player episode mode will be available as well. Dive deep on each team to learn more about team dynamics and lore. So that's what the Steam page says. Based on that, I would imagine a release date trailer and some more insight on that game. I know I just said live service games should be done on their own time. However, in the case of Marathon, the game is a month away. There is a reasonable chance that this game is going to do well. I think a very good chance that this game is going to do well, at least initially. It can be a dead in 6 weeks, and I know whenever I talk about Marathon, I'm a little bit more positive about it than most people. People just want this game to be dead. People want to say it's Concord 2.0. I've seen that so many times. It's not going to be that, you guys. It's going to be relatively big, at least on launch day. I'm not saying it's going to crack 400,000 concurrent players on Steam, but could it crack 100,000 concurrent players? Absolutely. And when the comparison point is Concord, that literally peaked at like 1,500 players, obviously orders of magnitude bigger. And the fact is, they're gonna be setting up for an open test that's gonna give everybody an opportunity to play the game. Given that this State of Play is happening on a Thursday, I would say drop that open test, ideally this weekend. That's when it should be. It should be this weekend or very shortly after, because the game's out on March 5th, you guys. They gotta get the ball rolling as far as doing that open test and getting people playing the game and actually excited for the game. That is the final thing you could do to shift perception on this game. Some of that perception has already been shifted with the redesign of the game and the rebranding of the game, the delay. I think it's been fairly successful in that regard. Now it's time for the final push. Get that open test going, get streamers playing the game, and then that's gonna show us everything. Like, if the open test is available to everybody, that will give us a good gauge on whether or not this game will actually resonate with people on launch day. And then ultimately, what happens after launch, that's for Bungie to figure out and for Bungie to do. We can't gauge that now, but in terms of getting people excited for March the 5th, this is the opportunity to do that. Also likely Sorrowos gameplay. I think you do a final push for that ahead of its April release. You get the ball rolling in terms of generating some momentum for that. I do think that's a big game. I know a lot of people are calling for Wolverine. I don't need to hear about Wolverine right now. Wolverine, you can save that for the summer to do a big showcase and announce the release date then. I think that's fine. February is still on the early side to me to announce the release date for that. And remember how Yote was handled? Yote was revealed in October of 2024. and then it got its release date closer to the summer. I feel like that's what's gonna happen with Wolverine as well. Unless it's a case of Wolverine's gonna be out in August or September, I could see the argument to do the announcement here, but I would put the focus and the manpower on Sorrows. Focus on that game, and then come May, June, announce the Wolverine date, maybe even April if it is out in August or September, maybe announce it then, but I think we could wait a couple months for Wolverine, and I would put the attention around Sorrows right now, because I do think that it's worthwhile to do a final push on this game, because I think this could really be Housemarque's breakout title. I think they should put a big emphasis on this game, because Returnal was received really well, but Returnal came out very early on the PlayStation 5's life, and a lot of people just didn't end up checking that game out. I foresee Sorrows' ceiling being way, way higher than what Returnal's ceiling was, and hopefully that will be the case, because I think so far what we've seen out of the game has looked great, and hopefully it does turn out well. And then finally, I would put in the likely category the Death Stranding 2 PC release. Death Stranding 1 is at a historic low price point on Steam right now. It just makes sense to port Death Stranding 2 at this point, and PlayStation is going to be doing the publishing for Death Stranding 2 on PC, so I do find that a little bit interesting. It does show us PlayStation's more investment into PC gaming, because Death Stranding 1, that PC version was published by 505 Games. If Sony's now publishing Death Stranding 2, I just find that to be a little interesting. Now let's go into the possibilities section. Square Enix and PlayStation obviously have a really strong relationship. Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3. That announcement's gotta be coming soon. I'm not saying a release date, but the announcement of the game, the reveal of the game alongside the title with a fairly short trailer, and then you could do the bigger trailer during Summer Game Fest, because we know Jeff Keighley and Square Enix have a solid relationship as well. And they did the FF7 Rebirth trailer and release date announcement. I believe it was at Summer Game Fest 2023. And that's where they announced the, it'll be on 2 discs deal as well. Could see FF7 Remake getting a teaser trailer, or even a short trailer, and then announcing the title of that as well. And then maybe at the end they'll say coming early 2027, because that makes a lot of sense to me. Early 2027 lining up with the 30-year mark of the original game's release, that just fits really well. The God of War Metroidvania game, that seems to be something that everybody knows is in development, just has not been revealed yet, but it would be nice. Like, that's the kind of game, it's not going to be a marquee $70 big game release, but something as an accessory release throughout this year that's priced accordingly. I think that could be something that adds a lot of worthwhile value to PlayStation's catalog this year, so hopefully that does get announced. Witcher DLC, I'm a little bit doubtful of. It's looking very likely that this is in fact in development. Nate the Hate has said he's heard some things about it as well. I just think CDPR is going to end up doing that at their own time. CDPR usually does things on their own, and I don't think you need to piggyback off of State of Play to announce the Witcher DLC. Like, the Witcher DLC is going to be gigantic. And it's not really tied to PlayStation either. Witcher, as far as a franchise go, more so tied to PC. So I foresee CDPR doing that on their own time. But hey, if it's revealed, you know I'm going to be excited for that. Control Resident trailer with a release date. I think Control Resident is going to come out sooner than a lot of us expect. I could see that game coming out in June or July. They did say that the game's going to be out before GTA 6. So that would be quite good, and yeah, shout out to Remedy. If they get Control Resident out by spring of this year or mid this year, that's 2 big games in the span of under 3 years, which in today's gaming environment is almost unheard of. Gaming landscape, it's almost unheard of, with all the lengthy dev times and turnaround time. Onimusha Way of the Sword getting a new trailer and then a release date as well. That's a game that's kind of getting forgotten about with Capcom's absolutely stacked lineup of upcoming games. Maybe instead of doing a trailer for Onimusha right now, you'd want to get through the release of Resident Evil and Monster Hunter Stories 3, keep the attention on that, and then Pragmata as well. Those 3 games from Capcom are coming out back to back to back in upcoming months, so Onimusha is a game you could save for the fall, man. There's a lot of Capcom content coming out, but at some point I imagine a new trailer on that and then a release date as well. But I could also see that being a Summer Game Fest reveal in terms of the release date. And then lastly, for possibilities, I gotta put PSSR version 2 with a potential Crimson Desert showcase there as well. Crimson Desert has become one of the hotly anticipated games. We know that it's gonna be PS5 Pro enhanced. The PSSR upgrade has been something that's been rumored for quite a while. If you're gonna do a lengthy state of play like this, doing a PSSR version 2 announcement with a Crimson Desert showcase, it doesn't have to be lengthy. We don't need a 10-minute showcase for your upscaling technology, alright? But a quick 2 to 3 minute showcase, and then you can do a lengthier deep dive on the technical aspects on your YouTube channel. That to me would be how you do it. So those are some of the possibilities. And then I'd be remiss if I don't mention the leak that's been going around. Look, it might be straight hopium, but Devil May Cry 6, there is a rumor going around that Devil May Cry 6 will be getting revealed at the State of Play. Man, I'd go crazy if that was one of those reveals, but that might be me asking too much. Like, I feel like I'm keeping my expectations in check with the possibilities I've listed out. This is probably asking for way too much as well, but if we get even half of this, I think that's pretty good. DMC 6 would be a huge cherry on top in terms of my excitement level for the show, but you know, I don't like to get too excited, and I feel like what I've already outlined is pretty good. And then I imagine we'll get a lot of indies and whatnot. But Devil May Cry, as far as that game goes, and IP, I just feel like it's been on the bench for way too long. DMC, the Netflix series, was big. As much as people want to crap on it, that did fairly well. And Devil May Cry is one of the hotter IPs. DMC 5 sold incredibly well. How it's been 7 years without a Devil May Cry game is insane to me, given, again, DMC 5 sold incredibly well. This could be a pillar IP for Capcom at the level, or at least close to, Resident Evil. I really feel that strongly about the projection of where Devil May Cry could go, but we just haven't seen consistent releases. If not DMC 6, a Devil May Cry 1 remake would be phenomenal as well. But Devil May Cry is one of those IPs that just needs to get off the bench at this point. Outside of all of that, remasters always a possibility. Let me bring up Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2. That would be tremendous to see as well, as far as remasters and collections go. I always like to bring up remasters and collections because we know that Sony has iced so many studios with their live service push. Remasters, collections, things like that are not going to have 5 to 7 year development cycles attached to them. So Metal Gear, obviously, that's a Konami thing, and MGS4 is going to be a big deal when Master Collection Volume 2 is out. Beyond that, Peace Walker as well. Peace Walker would be huge if we could get Metal Gear Rising as well in there. Rising not being available on modern platforms is a huge problem. We need to remedy that. And then, you know, I feel like for State of Play speculation for the last several years, I've been just hoping for PlayStation 3 game remasters. If you're not going to give me actual backwards compatibility and you've iced so many of your studios, get some PS3 remasters. Bluepoint figured it out with Uncharted Nathan Drake collection, so don't tell me, but it's the cell architecture, you guys, the cell architecture. Yo, you can figure it out. I'm sure you can figure it out. Infamous, Ratchet Future. There are other games out there if you can figure it out as far as licensing and figuring out deals. 3D Dot Game Heroes. I can go on and on. The PlayStation 3 era of games just being lost in the ether is one of the more depressing things in gaming, and I will continue to bring that up forever. Killzone, Resistance. I know with Killzone and Resistance you can't include the multiplayer in those games because then you'll divide your audience and you want to get people spending their multiplayer hours on live service games so you can get microtransaction revenue. I get it, but at the very least, Resistance campaigns. Uncharted Golden Abyss as well. PlayStation Vita title. Hello? Ben Studio's been iced for eons and eons. Why? Y'all can remaster Days Gone. Let's get a remaster and port of Uncharted Golden Abyss. That would do very well as well, but there you go with all of that. Some speculation, some things that are likely. I think I'm keeping my expectations relatively in check. I'm not asking for Bloodborne, you know, and some of the stuff, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3, maybe people will say, we all know it's in development, like, it's gotta get revealed at some point. Witcher DLC seems pretty likely as well at this point. The God of War Metroidvania, that seems like it's gonna happen. Control Resident is already announced. I'm not asking for new first-party games. I'm not asking for an intergalactic gameplay demo with a release date for 2026. I'm not asking for Santa Monica to do a new God of War reveal as far as big-budget God of War titles. I'm asking for things that are fairly in line and keeping it fairly realistic. If you do have a 60-minute window to work with, I think there's a potential for a lot of cool stuff, but we'll see. Sometimes we are greatly disappointed, but we shall see how that turns out. That'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.